Think we are almost stabilizing in the participant list. Maybe we should get started. Okay, hello everyone. I'm Kaushik. I'm a staff scientist at Argonne National Laboratory, and I'll be the moderator for this session. Along with all my committee members, I welcome everyone to the first webinar series, Navigating SC24 as an Early Career Attendee. This is a part of the SC24 Early Career Program. Just a quick reminder, please change your Zoom usernames to your full name. And if you have any questions, raise your hand in the Zoom and then we'll allow to speak in order. This program is for people who are in the early stages of their career. It is intended to help guide participants in navigating a successful career path. Topics include funding, mentorship, communication skills, resiliency, and time management. We strongly believe training early career researchers is one of the most important thing for HPC and for the science community as well. I would like to use this opportunity to thank all my workshop committee members for all their supports. And today we have three speakers. Thank you, Kevin, Paula, and Bethany for being with us today. So we have a diverse set of participants today, almost from 10 different countries. We have selected around 40 applicants for this program who are early in their career from diverse fields. They are postdocs, assistant professors, research associates. So before I give it to the speakers, I would like to call on my committee members and chairs. Thank you, Kevin, for being the chair of this year, and Christy, Tina, Alexandra, Sergio, Stephanie, Susanna, and Isaiah. They had been putting a lot of work in the background for this session. And today we will be covering the expectations and prerequisites for the on-day workshop, prepare the attendees to get most of the workshop, as well as at SC. We have speakers from the present and the past ECP chairs, and we have also from the workshop alumnus. There'll be an open panel at the last 25 minutes where everyone can ask questions, but feel free to raise your hands if you have anything upfront. So with this, I would like to start with introducing Kevin. Kevin is the Early Career Chair. He's also the inaugural Walter Massey Fellow at Argonne National Laboratory. He works in the area of network and I/O performance analysis, and he's also the PI for the project on improving data movement performance for emerging AI and climate science workloads on future supercomputers. He received his MSc and PhD in mathematical and computing sciences at the Tokyo Institute of Technology. And he had been attending and serving in different committees at SC for many years. At least I have seen him for around 8 years now. And with this, Kevin, you can take it up.
Thank you, Kaushik, and good morning, everyone. And I'd like to echo Kaushik's welcoming everyone to the Early Career Program this year, and thanking also all the committee members for supporting the program and making it what it is in a really valuable resource to early career attendees. Just a bit of background regarding myself. So I started attending SC back in 2012, and I think I've attended all except one SC program, one SC conference. And I've also attended the Early Career Program in the past. And this year, I'm a member of the the SC Inclusivity Committee, which oversees the Early Career Program, ensuring that the conference itself is taking care of the breadth of folks in the HPC community, including the early career attendees. This year, we wanted to ensure that we're building on the legacy of previous programs and ensuring that there's continuity and value for the attendees. And so we have a diverse committee to ensure that we cover not just national laboratories, but also industry, also academia, and we're catering to the needs of early career attendees from these different areas. So I'll just share a few slides to give you an introduction of, let's say, what to expect in this year's program. So I may be repeating a bit of what Kaushik said, and I'm happy to do that because I want you all to ensure you know that you're in the right place and what to expect in regards to the program. So the program is going to be a series of workshop-style seminars and pre-conference webinars for you all, and it's intended to guide participants in navigating a successful career path. So primarily, there will be pre-conference webinars, as you've seen in the introductory email and the in-person workshop. But this year, instead of having mentor-protege as a component in the program as we've had in last year, we've decided to break out the mentor-protege component and integrate that part into the overall SC24 mentor-protege program. So you will be getting another email, and I should have included this previously, telling you how to participate in that program if you haven't already signed up for it. And that program will involve you being matched with a mentor for the conference, potentially having virtual meetings with your mentor before. And then on the day of the conference, there will be mentor protege mixers, I think a breakfast as well, where you can talk with them in person about topics of interest to you. So as I've mentioned, our committee it spans a breadth of different areas. So myself and Christy Belcher are leading the committee this year, and we have folks from industry national labs, universities, as well as folks from overseas. We also have not listed here is the early career chair from last year to ensure there is continuity, and the early career program chair for next year to ensure that next year's committee can also build on the work we're doing this year. So just wanted to point this out because in reading the applications of all the participants, I noticed that there were some folks who wanted to attend the program to get some specific things. And some of those things may not be captured in the early career program, but are encompassed in other parts of the SC conference program. So what ECP is not, it's not an introduction to the HPC research, or let's say the HPC community as a whole. And I think SC is a great place to get that introduction, but the program that we're putting together itself may not be that thing. So we will not be covering technical topics in terms of, what HPC network designs are, the new types of processors, where Intel's chip roadmap is looking like, for example. If you've done more, let's say, basic sciences or computational science before, and you want to get into the HPC technologies that are currently in the market, this program is also not designed to do that. So we do have tutorials in the SC conference program. And if you want to learn about these different technologies, that's where you can sign up to learn. The program is also not intended to introduce you to HPC research topics. So the technical program at SC is very vast and very deep, and you can cover different topics in that area, but the ECP program is not designed for that. ECP primarily is to help you to help to give the, let's say, competence and confidence in certain skills, career building skills that you will need within the HPC community. And I'll quickly go through some of the topics that we'll cover in the webinars to show you what are the skills we're focusing on this year. So this first workshop is intended to help you navigate SC as well as this program. So to give you an idea of what to expect from this program, as well as how you could leverage all the components in the SC conference to help your career. We also want to talk about skills such as collaborations, writing proposals, dealing with planning your career and transitioning to different careers, and resiliency and time management in the webinars and in the program overall. The webinars will be more like lecture style with panels where we invite expert speakers to talk about these topics based on their experience and their competencies. And you'll have a chance to interact with them and ask them questions and get information about the different topic areas they're talking about. All the webinars will be recorded as well. So if for some reason you miss one of them, they will be posted on our YouTube channel link at the end, and we'll send you that link so you can go back and review. We primarily designed the webinars as a place to share useful information about these topics, because at the actual workshop in Atlanta, we want you to have the opportunity to practice these skills and get immediate feedback from mentors and experts who will be interacting with you face to face. So the early career workshop program schedule is the tentative schedule, I should say, is listed here. And so we will have 1, 2, 3, 4 topical sessions. The fourth session will be a career paths panel. So at the end of the day, once you've done a lot of things and interact with a lot of folks, you can then hear about different career pathways and how you can use your skills and your interests to kind of align with some pathways that I may not have considered before. The 3 other sessions will be very hands-on workshop style sessions, and they include proposing work, such as how do you read a funding opportunity announcement or a request for a proposal? How do you ensure that you're being responsive in what you're preparing? How do you ensure you're being inclusive, not just the technical content, but including people from different backgrounds, technical backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, to ensure that your proposal is the richest one that the reviewers are seeing. And also, how do you kind of review these proposals and statement of works to understand, what the reviewers are looking for, so that when you are putting together your proposal, it meets the requirements of the reviewers. The session on reporting work, we want to cover, like how do you look at writing papers or writing your technical reports in your different career areas? How do you review papers and reports, and how do you give presentation of your work, and the skills or the tips that would be very useful, ensuring these are done very well. And the managing work session, we're looking at project management and building collaborations, leading projects, and how to ensure your project team is successful to complete the work you have assigned. So it's dealing with topics such as conflict resolution. And for each of these 3 topics or these 3 sessions, the amount of time that a speaker will be there talking to you will be at most 30% of the session. So the speakers will come and give you different guidelines or different overviews of the topic, and then you'll be given activities, almost like a choose your own adventure type session, where you say, all right, I'm in the first year of my career and I've never written a proposal before. So I'm going to take this activity to say, for example, write a proposal on this topic. You follow the skills that you've learned during these webinars and in the overview, practice writing a simple proposal, for example, and then we'll have mentors assigned to each group on the day to give you immediate feedback on, what you did well, what could be improved, and different things that you may not have considered that you can then consider for your subsequent proposal. So each of these 3 sessions will involve a short overview of the topic area, some activity to practice those skills, and at the end of it, a review of what you've done so that you can get immediate feedback on, your progress. Are you where you want to be, and what are the things you could potentially do to get to the next stage of where you want to be? I'll end here. Sorry for running over time, Kaushik, and leave time at the end for questions.
That was great. Thank you so much, Kevin. So next, I would like to introduce Paula. Paula Ulaya is a research scientist who works in the on-premise cloud AI team at IBM Research. Olaya's research interests include the convergence between high performance and cloud computing for scientific workflows to allow intrinsic reproducibility, trustworthiness, and scalability. She obtained her PhD and MSc in computer science at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. With this, Paula, take it over.
Okay. Thank you so much for the invitation, and hi to everyone. Let me share my screen. Okay. One second, sorry. Okay, can you see now my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So a little bit of context about my participation at SC. I got to SC as a student volunteer, and then I started participating as a committee member. This year, I am the SC24 New Volunteers Chair, also part of the Inclusivity Committee, where this, it's the big umbrella of the early career program. So for this specific session, I am targeting or giving a brief overview of what's the conference and what you can expect as a first time attendee. So just let me see if you see, yes. The quick overview. So SC is the general chair for this year is Philip Roth from Oak Ridge National Lab. And it is sponsored by two main institutions, ACM and IEEE. The SC biggest facts that I have is it's the biggest HPC conference. Last year, I think we had the attendance of 14,000 people. This SC24 is the first time that it's going to be hosted in Atlanta at the Georgia World Congress Center. And the theme for this year is HPC Creates. And this is something that I really like. And if you have the time, once we share the slides, to take a look at the different series of HPC Creates, there's how HPC is creating different and diverse areas that we perhaps, if we work only on research or only on software engineering, we might not see. So things like art or how it has impacted the career path of many people. So I think it's very nice to just see this theme at the conference. Okay, so the first thing that I want to clarify and that is important is what you can attend based on your registration. So I think it's important for you. I'm not sure, Kevin, if all the early careers have the same type of registration, but if not, it might be good for you to check, go on the webpage and check what do you get for each of your registrations, because there are different things that you can get. So for example, if you go in person, which is I think the expected, there are 7 types of registration where you could go to workshops or you could go only to tutorials or you cannot, so it's there's a selection of things that you might or not be able to attend. As a general attendee, you can attend the keynote, which is very nice. The HPC Creates plenary, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Panels, Art of HPC display, the job fair, which I think as an early career it might be very important, the early career program as well, and the student at SC programs. Everyone has access to the digital experience. And depending on the registration, as I said, there are different receptions, and there are 2 specific ones that you might need to pay $25 for a ticket. So again, just go and check what you could get with your registration. Now, once you know what you can attend, this is the timeline of the different events that you can attend. And the nice thing about SC is that it's divided between a technical conference where you can attend papers, workshops, tutorials, posters, and then there's also the industry expo, where you can go to the exhibit hall where there are many companies showing what they're doing. There's also the job fair where you could work, show your CV, and probably create a connection for future opportunities. So this is the quick timeline, and now we're going to go each one by one of the programs very quickly. So the first one is tutorials are going to be hosted Sunday and Monday. And it's hands-on sessions where you get to learn tools and techniques from specific topics in HPC. Is very important, very nice. Workshops happen Sunday, Monday, and then Friday, and it's like mini conferences. Basically, each workshop has like a specific topic, and then they across the year people submit for papers for the workshop, and then you get our panels and papers in each of the like mini conferences within each of these workshops. Then the plenary is a moderated discussion. This year the theme again is going to be HPC Creates. So yeah, it's just going to be interesting how to see HPC in different fields. The keynote, so it's an invited talk from like a visionary and a leader in a community. This year is going to be Dr. Nicola Fox, and she works for NASA. She has like, I don't know, like 100 projects. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see the role of HPC in this specific keynote. And this is going to happen on Tuesday. There are also not only the keynotes, but invited talks, different topics, and it's just very experts, on the field giving like amazing talks. So this is something that I truly recommend. And then the panels happen from Tuesday to Friday, and it's sessions where experts debate, and like you can have more of a conversation. You have different leaders or experts in a topic, and you can ask questions. So it can be a little bit more interactive. This one is definitely the most interactive and kind of like small group sessions, because it is small discussions or updates about like topics that you might be, like ethics in HPC, that isn't new, or HPC and AI, so very just selected topics where you can have discussions, and it's like more to have a vision of what could happen in the future, or what, how scientists can drive that topic. So it's very interesting, and it happens from Sunday to Friday. Papers and posters happen Tuesday to Thursday. Yeah. And specifically for posters, there are two categories. You can have the ACM Student Research Competition and also the Doctoral Showcase. And you could also have just regular research posters. So now that I've gone really quick through the different sessions that you can have, there is another component of SC, and is that, as I mentioned, is not only the technical parts, but it's also part industry expo. So there are hundreds of companies that can come and attend, and you have like different exhibitors, or like, companies just telling you, institutions, research labs, even universities. And it's a great opportunity to just go to the place, interact, connect, know what the companies are doing, what the institutions are doing. Additionally to that, there are also non-technical SC. Things like that are, as I was mentioning, the exhibit hall. It's always super fun to go. The opening is on Monday, and there's a reception for everyone, and then you can just go and enjoy the floor. Then there are also within that exhibit hall that are like talks, or each company will host the schedules for a specific discussion. So that's something that you can leverage. There's going to be the job fair, which is very important. It's going to be Tuesday, November 19th, from 10:30 to 3 p.m. I suggest you to go to this link. They have like not only like good tips on how to, tune your CV, what's the best way of like, have your resume, what things you should highlight. So just things that are very easy and necessary for you to have or to leverage the job fair. And then, of course, the last one is that are after-hour events that are great opportunities for networking. Because, the ACP is part of the inclusivity. I think I wanted to highlight our committee. And the goal for SC is that we can foster belonging from all the attendees. So SC is not only a technical conference where we want to talk about HPC, but we also want that everyone feels welcome. So, and I think that's everyone's job. So part of the inclusivity things that we do is the infrastructure. So there's going to be rooms for childcare. There's going to be prayer and quiet rooms that are family rooms. Last year actually was the first time that we hosted something called HPC Illumination Pavilion. So in the exhibitors hall, we have like big companies, and they usually it's just like very big companies or big institutions, but there's also of HPC Illumination Pavilion is an opportunity for smaller institutions to attend and get to showcase their work. There's also the Early Career Program, the New Volunteers, Accessibility, and this year was also another initiative called HPC Creates Community. So it's just to kind of like create or strengthen the community that is located in Atlanta. The Inclusivity Office is going to be open the whole week and is 8401, and there are going to be sessions. Another big part of SC is the students at SC that are different programs. The one that I want to, like you could go into the webpage and check this, but the one that I want to highlight today that Kevin already highlighted is the mentor protege matching. Here I attached the links to whatever you want to be part of, like if you want to be a protege or if you want to be a mentor, because in this program students also participate. So us as early career, perhaps we can have an insight, insights for the new students. And the breakfast is going to be on Tuesday. So I think one of the last things that I want to mention, if this is not your first time, or even after you participate at SC and you're like, oh my God, I want to be part of SC. SC is a volunteer-driven conference. That's how it started. That's how everyone who is, in the committee started. So I think if you want to take a chance at that, there is this program to volunteer, and you can just see what committees you're interested in, and then become part of the organization for SC. Final remarks, just enjoy the conference and leverage all the opportunities. Something that I always say is organize your schedule. So identify the sessions that are like of your interest. I think a big part of SC is the social events, because that's equals like networking. Attend the big events like the keynotes, panel, exhibitors reception, the job fair, and the technical reception. I think these are like very good sessions for everyone. And of course, network, just like meet people and create a lot of connections. And I also added a few links or useful links that you're going to have. Housing is very important. I don't know if everyone here has already their hotels, but in case they don't, this is last week it closed, but I think there is like late housing registration this week, so you might leverage that. And that's it. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you so much, Paula. That was very clear. It is very dense and a lot of opportunities. And all this will be recorded and posted online, so you will have an opportunity to revisit. So next I'd like to introduce Bethany. Dr. Bethany Lush is a computer scientist in the data science group at the Argonne Leadership Computing Facility at Argonne National Laboratory. Her research expertise includes developing methods and tools to integrate AI with science, especially for dynamical systems and PDE-based simulations. She holds a PhD and MS in Applied Mathematics from the University of Washington and a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics from the University of Notre Dame. With this, Bethany, it's all yours. Take it up.
Thank you. I have a few slides. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. So I attended the early career program at SC in 2021, which was virtual because of the pandemic. The conference was hybrid, but the early career part was virtual. And the part that was most memorable for me was the speakers on resilience and time management and goal setting, because it was the speakers were a lot more, I guess, vulnerable about their struggles than most academic contexts. So even if I didn't have the same experience as them, it was helpful to see what they're finding works for them as far as time management. And I guess they're nonlinear career paths. And so it's helpful to remember that people aren't always just people's research is not necessarily just this super easy thing where you see the paper at the end, and people have to figure out their own ways to work. Let's see, I took notes on my computer, which I still have, so I was able to like scroll through my notes in preparation for today. And one thing that people did was share a lot of book recommendations. And one that I definitely read after SC is the book Burnout by Nagasaki, which I think someone referenced because it talks about exercise as being like very extremely helpful for releasing stress and stopping like a stress cycle. You don't have to be like literally burned out to benefit from the book. And some thoughts on attending SC. So I've attended SC and other similar large conferences, and it's helpful to have a rough plan for what you want to attend, but I think some mix of seeing things that are like exactly what you're already working on, mixed with some things that are not, because you can kind of see what the broader field is doing and things that might be helpful later. So maybe oh, this, even just learning like the names for things can be helpful if like a year later it's relevant and you want to look up the right topic or the right people to talk to. And something I've had trouble with is pacing my energy. So at a big conference like this, the schedule goes all day, and you might feel like, oh, I need to go to all of this stuff. But then eventually you're worn out, whether that's sorry, I gotta turn off the closed captioning. Eventually your brain gets tired from all this information. That's totally normal, and it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. And I guess also depending on your how introverted or extroverted you are, you might also need to pace yourself on socializing. I have found that if you email or message people who you know are attending, who you haven't met, and ask like, oh, do you want to meet during a coffee break? I've had really good success with this, especially when I was on the job market. I emailed people with interesting jobs and I said, hey, I thought your job looked interesting. I'm looking for jobs. Can you tell me more about it and meet on a coffee break? Now, more senior people might be like super busy at a conference like this, but I found early to mid-career people were typically like thrilled to talk to me. Especially if it happens that they don't know a lot of people at the conference yet. They're like, oh, someone to talk to. And the people tend to love talking about their own experiences. And then I'm very introverted and quiet, but I think at things like coffee breaks, as I can usually get myself to just chat with someone who's not talking to somebody and say something like, what do you work on? Because everyone there has something in common because they're attending this conference. And maybe they're working on something that's like totally different from you, but you can still learn something interesting. And let's see. I think supercomputing is really broad, including like software and hardware. So it might be tempting to feel like an imposter and feel like, oh no, I don't know all of this stuff. I don't know like all these different like networking components or something. And like that's totally normal and okay, and nobody knows all of the things. And it's also okay if some of the things are just not interesting to you. So I think a cool thing about our field is that people have very different specializations and different interests, and then we all work together to successfully build and use supercomputers. And so don't feel bad if it's like, oh, I don't love every topic. Does anyone have any questions about this now, or should we save that?
We also have a panel, but if they want to, they can also raise hands. But you can go on.
Okay, yeah, this is I just put together just a couple of slides. So I don't know how we're doing on time, if we should go to the next person.
Yeah, we are doing okay. All good here. But this was very valuable, Bethany. Thank you so much. This I wish I had this session when I first went to the SC. You completely empathize how it feels for a new person as a early career attendee with everything is good. And sometimes I feel I want to be there at all the places. Like
Yeah.
this plenary, I want to go for all the collaboration opportunities, job opportunities, and yeah, especially breaks and these things are very helpful. Uh, so
Another thing that I think is kind of fun is if you see a talk that is not quite your thing, but you know someone else who does that, and you email them, hey, I thought you might like this paper. I think I saw a tweet or something that was saying researchers love languages. Hey, I thought of you. I saw this paper. So, that can be a fun way to keep um, making connections and building relationships.
okay, so I think with this we'll open up the panel. Kevin, is there a way to like spotlight the speakers?
I don't remember, but we
Okay,
can
all right, no,
start while I.
no problem. So let me see. Okay. Okay, with this, we'll open up the panel, and if any of the attendees have questions, feel free to raise your hand, and all the panelists will be here to answer your questions. Maybe while they are waiting, thinking, and hesitating, maybe I'll start with one. To all the speakers, like especially Bethany covered most of these things, but I would like to know, we also have a session on time management and resiliency. So what do you think are the new challenges for the people who are in the early career, especially in the post-pandemic era? And what do you think is needed for them from your experience and your perspective? Like Kevin, Bethany, Paula, like, anyone can go ahead with this one.
Um, I'll let Bethany go first if you want.
I
All right.
think I can't speak for everyone, but I know at Argonne we have a hybrid environment, and some people are fully remote, which I th I think can be great for the flexibility and accommodating people, like people saving time on commutes and being able to live where it works for them. But I think it can also be difficult with um, being able to like kind of quickly ask each other questions when someone's not in the middle of something. I know like we use Slack a lot, and I find it sometimes distracting to like keep seeing what's happening on Slack or different notifications. And it's like so critical to be able to ask people questions before you spend like way too much time on it. Um, but it's a little hard to balance that with not um, interrupting each other. I don't know if people have suggestions of ways that you've made this work. I think when people are in person, then you can say, oh, they're at the coffee maker, they're kind of paused anyway. Maybe I can ask them this quick thing. And then I think relatedly, when you're in person, people naturally do a little bit more of the chatting about like, oh, how was your weekend? And you kind of build up these positive interactions, which can be hard to build in when you're only on Zoom because maybe you're going straight to the point. Um, but I think that's helpful even like if later you're having a bit of a conflict or something. It helps if before you've kind of built up this positive relationship from chatting. So I don't have answers to any of these things, but I think there are things to be intentional about counteracting. I was also yesterday listening to a podcast interview about what fun is. And this person who studied fun, and kind of her definition is sort of like she's looking at things that are like really fun, not just mildly fun. And she felt like the components are involved social connection and being in a flow state. And sorry, I'm forgetting the other one. But both of those I think could be very relevant to work. So when she interviewed people, she found that when she asked them, what is something you've done that was so fun? Almost all of the examples involved somebody else. And I think at work, that can kind of take things to the next level of enjoyment if you're including at a conference, connecting with somebody else.
That's very helpful, Bethany. Before moving on to other questions, Kevin or Paula, do you have anything to share?
Just to focus it, since the topic of today's session is like navigating SC24, just to focus it on like how we can use, or at least what we should prepare for in terms of resiliency and time management. Definitely want to echo what Bethany said about, being intentional about your program and not trying to take on the world and trying to attend everything. I think also what's useful is for SC, it's okay to revisit and reevaluate every day. Like, today I wanted to do these things and I tried and realized I was burnt out. So I need to reevaluate what I do tomorrow and then, refine your plan every day. And find, try to find places or people that work well for you at the conference, because some things, as Bethany said, you may not be interested in it and it just feels like a chore, although some chores you have to do. But sometimes I feel like oftentimes when I'm forcing myself in an area which is really overwhelming and overbearing, it may be that I'm not taking the right attitude to it, so I need to reevaluate how I'm approaching it, or it may just not be the right place for me in terms of, like some birds of a feather sessions, maybe I just don't like that open interaction. I need something structured, like a paper presentation. So yeah, being intentional is really good for time management and resilience at SC.
Right. So we didn't have any more questions, but maybe I'll ask one more. So to focus on the on-day workshop, could you tell me how will it be? Yes, you went through the structure, but could you tell me a little bit more on how our attendees can prepare well, like what kind of hands-on activities will be going on, what they would wish to know upfront, just how the day would go on, like because they may have something else scheduled on the same day, like going back and forth. How would it affect the flow? Is it dense packed? Could you tell me a little bit more on how it would go for them?
Sure. We do encourage all attendees to stay for the entirety of the on-day program, but we understand that maybe you have a talk to give in a session, and that session was scheduled at the same time as the SC early career program. But each session will be somewhat self-containing. So for example, proposing work, first there will be someone giving an overview of that topic. Then there will be an activity on that topic, and then we review the activity that you've done. So if you can stay for the entirety of each session, that would be ideal. But if you do need to step out, we understand that's unavoidable. For preparation, as we get closer to the conference, I think potentially a week before, if there is any documentation that you need to review, we'll give you that by then. We'll also give you a detailed outline of each session, the speakers, and a hint of what the activities will be if it requires preparation. One of the other things I'm focusing on under this session, again, one of the other things that we're encompassing this year is trying to build a cohort, or at least help you to build a network of your peers. So there will be team building, or at least let's say, really accessible exercise where you can interact with people who are also attending the program, and you can find others who maybe complement your research or your career path, or just people you love hanging around with, and maybe you can enjoy the rest of the conference with them. So some of the hopes of the conference this year is to building competence, confidence, and networks. So we're hoping that after you leave the conference, you feel that you have the skills needed, you feel confident in using these skills, and you feel like you have a network of peers who can support you as you go forward. I hope that answered your question, Kaushik.
Yes, that's very helpful, Kevin. I think there's also one more question going on the chat. Maybe other attendees also might have in their mind. Just to confirm, could you tell me about the registration for the technical program? Does it cover the early career workshop attendance, right? You mentioned that the lunch and the breakfast is covered, but I just want to make sure that
Yes, in previous year, early career program, you needed a workshop or you need a technical program registration. But this year, and to be very clear, this year, once you have an in-person registration, any badge, it could be exhibitor only, workshop only, tutorial only, or technical program, it will cover early career program. So any in-person registration you have, you'll be able to participate in the early career program.
That's great. Thanks, Kevin. So we have 10 more minutes while we wait for some more questions. So I remember the few years back when I attended SC, I was trying to contact a very famous professor. Like I was really scared. Maybe he won't even reply to me, and then I hesitated. And then the next year, I did send him an email, and he was pretty cool. Yeah, I think he was from Oak Ridge. He sent me this fancy URL with all the available times that he have in SC, and he had open times for students, evening times to meet for like maybe morning coffee times. He had like different slots. He came prepared to meet a lot of people, especially for collaborations, for people in the academia, assistant professor track. Like he had like I thought, oh man, I should have done this last year. So I'm just letting you know in case if you are hesitating like me, and if you want to know, they do come well prepared to meet a lot of new collaborations. Collaborations could be like new interns or like new project collaborations or those kind of things as well. So you never know. I just want to let you know.
I guess I have a question, if you don't mind. I know I'm part of the
Yeah,
panel,
sure.
but I think as early careers, I think some of us just started a job, and it might be the first time that we go to SC also as a, as with a real like a job. We're not or at least I am not a student anymore, so I have to do things on top of the conference. So for those who have experience, I think, Bethany, I don't know if you were a student when you went to the early career, or you, Kevin, that I know you have attended, what would be a good advice for like, organizing the priorities at work and also, attending at SC?
Do you mean priorities like things that you need to do at work outside of the conference?
Yeah, just like how can you how could you of course your priorities work, how could you still, you still need to do that, but how could you still leverage the conference? I think that's the main question.
Just to be clear, Paula, do you mean like if people from industry are attending SC and they have to work during the conference time and then still try to catch up with people?
Yes, and not only companies, I'm assuming like research labs. I don't know if they can just take the time off. What I'm saying is, if you don't have the time off to just fully enjoy the conference, or like to be fully present because you also have another job, how could you leverage? Yeah, what would be the
It's going to be a
best?
tough one. I will let the panel.
Do you want to continue, Bethany?
This has been hard for me because I have the kind of job with a lot of meetings with like a lot of different overlapping and disjoint groups. The last time I went to a conference, my strategy was I think I only attended like one meeting per day. I mean, now that a lot of meetings, at least for me, are online, then it's like possible to attend it while you're at a conference. And maybe I'm guessing years ago it was more common that people were just like, well, I'm not attending these meetings because I'm physically at a conference. But now it's a little harder to balance. So sorry, the last conference I went to, I had sort of a rule in my head of like, I'm gonna attend one normal work meeting per day. That is like the most important one that I'm actually there. And the rest of them, I'm just gonna say I'm traveling, I'll miss this week or something like that. And I guess it's good to keep in mind that if your employer paid for you to go to this conference, then they want you to experience the conference, and they don't want you to like, oh, we spent thousands of dollars sending you, and then you just like stayed in your hotel and attended Zoom meetings. So trying to balance that.
I agree. I think that last one that you said is very important. It's like you're there also as an image of the company. So I think you need to create or not like it's not that you're forced to create connections, but it's nice to just like be there and enjoy the conference. Also because it's going to be a good like beneficial for the company at some point.
Mm-hmm. Like if you're getting coffee with somebody that is relevant to that's like part of your job. And if you're attending talks, that's part of your job.
And to also add to that, I think it's a great question, Paula, and I experienced it similarly going from attending SC as a student to attending SC as a member of Argonne. And the first thing I'd point out is that now you will be the person that the students go to ask about your company and how to find a job there or how to connect. So that's something to prepare for. And in the same way that when you were a student, you appreciated that others made time in their busy schedule. If you can do it, that's also usually really appreciated in the community. Yeah, I think also having a conversation with your supervisors to say, like, hey, I'm here for the company and I will do the, what's obligated or what's required. But if your supervisor can help to provide the space for you to also benefit from the conference, that would be good. One of the things that we were talking about this year is how to convince your organization to let you be an attendee benefiting from the event. And we didn't get that blog out, but maybe we can still get it out in time. So thanks for bringing that point up again.
So that was very helpful, Kevin. Thank you so much. I see a lot of questions revolve around conflicts like time conflicts, management conflicts, decision conflicts, priority conflicts. I do want to say that we have a dedicated webinar for covering all of those things. But in my experience, especially with first-time attendees, for me it was a crash. Like it didn't go as planned. But the second time I saw a lot of people, they were very planned. Like they know these are the 4 things that I want to attend today, and they are prepared with what not to do at SC. Or if people were not prepared, there will be a lot of guilty feeling. Oh, there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of collaboration events. There's a lot of job opportunities that I'm missing out. So it would be better to plan on what you want and what you don't want. Maybe it may not be affordable for some attendees. They may have to work half and half, but you have to prioritize. And we have a session to cover all these things. And let me see. So there is a question about the career demographics for the people in the workshop. we have a very diverse set of participants at workshop, and we have the best in the field for the speakers and hands-on experience, especially for the proposals and everything. I do see a lot of uh, late almost students who are about to graduate from PhD and postdocs, a few assistant professors. But Kevin, could you maybe briefly go over the 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 different groups of participants on the on-day workshop?
Sure. And I sh this is probably going to go horrible, but
That's okay.
I'm going to share my screen just so it's recorded and folks will see what we have attending. So this is a split and it's recorded so you can go and pause the screen later of attendees from government labs and so on. These are the positions that they've indicated in their applications, age range, other demographics, and so on. So we do have a wide variety of participants. And just to point out, since there are a few minutes left, we have extra budget to accommodate up to 50 attendees this year, but so far we've accepted 40. So if you have colleagues who also qualify for this program in that they're within their first 7 years of their full-time position, you can be a student, but you need to have a full-time position. Like you're working in Microsoft and also pursuing your degree part-time, that's acceptable. But if you have a colleague who you think would benefit from this program, please send them, tell them to email us, the email that was sent in your introductory email or your welcome email, and we can work to include them if possible.
All right. So we're almost at the end of the hour. Is there any other questions that the participants would like to ask? Like, feel free to unmute and ask if you have any questions. And also a reminder, we have a lot of other webinars dedicated to certain topics. But if you have any in general questions for the speakers, panelists, please do speak up.
I don't have a question, but I would like to ask Bethany if she could share the link to the podcast that she was referring to. I'd like to.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll bring that up.
I also want to read the book that she mentioned that she got from the last time workshop, right? From the
Yeah, I can put both in the chat.
All right. So
what we can also do is we'll send out an email after this meeting indicating what the next webinar topic will be, any additional details about that topic, and a recap of this topic, including the information from Paula and Bethany. Cool.
all right. So that's it from our side. We thank you all the speakers for your time and your valuable advice and suggestions. That was very, very helpful. We would like to see all of you again in the next webinar, same time next week. See you all. Thank you so much. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thanks,
And I love
Karthik. Bye.
Volology, Bethany. It's the best podcast. Bye.